The Fairfield Foundation of Gloucester County, Virginia presents Save Our History, school kids learning about local history and how to preserve it, with funding from the History Channel. Cappahosic House not only serves as a reminder of 18th century plantation landscapes in Gloucester County, but also attests to the importance of colonial waterways. Cappahosic likely served as a public house and was the site of a ferry service to the south side of the York River. The house represents a unique style for the 18th century that survives largely intact today. The current owners, who use the house as a private residence, regularly work with historians and archaeologists to better understand the history of the property.
When you're looking at a building, you want to try to, you look at this building as a whole series of clues that tell about its history, and you want to try to figure out what all those clues are, right? A lot of you guys pointed out the shutter dogs that would have held back the shutters. Those are probably a change from the 1800s when someone added shutters to this building, but they're not original to the 1700s when this was built. Do you think in the 18th century, this house, do you think this would have been the only building on this property?
No.
What else would have been here?
Probably a slave quarters.
Slave quarters?
Well, shed. All the wells up there.
Sheds, wells, yep. So this would have been part of a plantation complex that had lots of buildings, right? We don't know where those buildings are, but if you go to a lot of other plantation houses, what you usually see is a big house, and on either side you'll have another building, probably a brick, and then you have other buildings arrayed, nearby. That was probably the same case here. So part of the landscape here is actually very similar to what it would have been in the 18th century, and part of it's very different. You look this way, what do you see? Birdhouses, fields, right? Does this look a little more plantation-like?
Yes.
It does, right? So even though on the other side it looks very much like a neighborhood, on this side it still looks like, agricultural land. What are we looking at in that direction? A river, right? Because this house wouldn't have been here. So would you have filled up the land in between your house and the river with things to obstruct your view? No. No, you might have kept it open, right? So if you look here, you see it has there's like a terrace or a little slope in the yard there. Any idea why you might have had that little terrace? Now, what do you guys think about the possibility of having some sort of gardens out in front of the house? You think that's a good possibility? I think so. We may have had, on some of these plantations you find formal gardens as well as, your regular gardens for vegetables and fruit, things like that. We may have had somewhat of a formal garden out front here, and that little slope might be an intentional feature on the landscape that was created to accentuate the level of the house when you're seeing it from a distance. Because you set it up on a little hill, it looks even bigger and more prominent.
Cappahosic House represents how thoughtful planning can result in modern updates that do not destroy a historic home's integrity. The home is not open to the public, but a drive through the neighborhood provides a striking impression of the ways in which historic homes can be part of today's landscapes.